Apparently we're starting again. This is so
Wonderful.
confusing from our perspective as casters because we have no idea what's going on.
We are highly confused because we're in the same position as you guys. We're watching over stream, so we have no idea what's happening right now. And especially when Ralvin changes his mind every 2 seconds.
Come back, Ruben. Sorry, I call him Ruben and Pulse calls him Rauben because this guy's kind of strange. His in-game name is Rauben and his real name is Ruben. Dutch people, man. What can you do?
Wow.
I think we're live. I think we're actually in Pixel
Outstanding!
And before anyone calls me racist, I have the utmost love for Dutch people. Pretty much the entirety of Chaos TV is Dutch. So
Dutch organisation, so yeah.
Indeed. It's
Okay,
just a
so
bit of banter.
Yeah, so let's jump into the ban champions, shall we, and get away from that subject. Kassadin, Shyvana, and Gragas will be banned out. Shyvana is emerging as an incredibly strong, not only laner, but also jungler. And personally, I'm calling it now, I think Shyvana is going to be one of the best top laners when we head into Season 4. Insane wave clear, does huge amounts of damage, has long range poke as well with Flame Breath in lane, generally want to be maxing that first, and has been banned out in this lane. Also an amazing ball carrier for Orianna, who is emerging as an incredibly good mid laner.
Yes, and Gragas as well. And going back a few weeks, Pulse, you did call this. You said with the recent nerfs to a lot of those assassin champions in mid, we're going to see a lot more Gragas and Orianna. It's exactly what the case has been. Both have been eliminated alongside the Kassadin. No real big surprises thus far on the ban stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Kassadin is still amazingly strong at the moment. One of those heavy roaming mid laners, and one of the kind of assassins, I guess you can guess. I guess you could say, who survived the recent wave of nerfs. Gragas also banned out, so that Gragas and Orianna lane we expect to see a lot of has been completely banned out in this game. Renekton's going to be taken out of the hands of Nitrix, who is the top laner for Dignitas UK.
Plays a mean Renekton as well, so definitely a smart ban. With 6 seconds to go on the stream that we can see, looks like they are going to be banning out the Elise.
Yeah, indeed, and Nitrix is known, very recently, for his top laners who are very sort of, just kind of split push champions. I've seen a lot of Jax from Nitrix who just kind of stays up there all game, and it is that constant split pushing threat. And I'll never forget the game that we saw a couple of weeks back, Metas, where he was 0-0-0 until the very end of the game, but the amount of pressure he had exerted even with that scoreline was ridiculous. And the last ban out will be Elise, and the first pick, will be Nidalee in the mid lane.
And it's interesting, we actually saw Nidalee getting locked in AP mid yesterday. It could very well be a top lane as well. We've seen a lot of top Nidalees going way back to Hotshot GG's days as well. But Jat actually we were talking to on TS yesterday, and he said AP mid is absolutely terrifying because even when behind in lane, those javelins are still going to chunk you down really badly, Paul. So going to be interesting to see if it is going to be top or the mid.
Yeah, I feel like even though Nidalee has a fairly weak laning phase up until level 6 against a lot of mid laners, the fact that she is very good in so many different circumstances makes her a very safe pick, even very early on in the picking order. Like, if you're behind, okay, great, well, you just retreat from the fight, you continuously throw spears. We also had Ezreal in the same lineup yesterday, Metas, so it was like spears, it was also the Mystic shots was making it very difficult to chase, or if you're on the aggressive side of things, then you can be sieging away at the turret, have Nidalee off to the side and poking people down. So she fits in so many circumstances and so many common circumstances. She can be picked very early and still be safe with that.
Yeah, definitely. There's going to be another Jarvan here for Dignitas UK, and normally I would say that Impaler is exceptionally comfortable on that champion, but we have seen in the past as well, Pulse, them choosing the Jarvan top with Nitrix, and sometimes even going mid with it. So it's going to be interesting for me to see where that Jarvan is. Similar to the Nidalee, it's one of those versatile picks that you never truly know where it's actually going to be played.
Yeah, indeed, and it just keeps your opponents on their toes. I mean, what can you expect from the team who's gone from, like, Jax and Nidalee? I mean, they're not champions who can go into the jungle. Like, we used to see a lot of Jarvan and then Lee Sin picked up, and also Elise, and being like, well, they could go in any one of those 3 roles. But Jax will most likely be played in the top lane, and then you can fit the Lee Sin in the jungle after that. But indeed, the Jarvan, not sure what's quite going to come out, and the Riven gets picked up by Impaler, probably going to be swapped up into their mid lane.
Yes, indeed. On the flip side, though, it could be that what seems to be now a top-tier duo lane at bot, the Lucian and also Thresh. Plenty of damage, plenty of CC, and also poke as well from that Nid. Because now that we've seen the Lee Sin, Jax, and Nid have all been picked, I have to assume it's going to be AP Nidalee in mid lane now.
Yeah, indeed. And it's interesting that Lucian's kind of come out of nowhere. He's had a small buff, but it was nothing really that massively changed his playstyle. And as an AD player yourself, Messers, what are your thoughts on Lucian at the moment? Because people still see his ultimate as fairly weak. I still call it the pea shooter. But what makes him strong in lane compared to other AD carries, especially against a Varus lane? How do you think this matchup is going to happen?
He's very good at trading, and also his passive, where he obviously gets the 2 shots off, is so good for going toe to toe with the likes of Varus. Plus the Thresh as well, you lock them down with the box, and the pea shooter, as you call it, the culling, is going to by and large hit every single proc. So it is a very underrated lane, but we're starting to see it more. It's played a lot in Korea, for example. We're seeing it more in NA on top of that. So I think this is a duo lane. We're going to see it much more frequently in the near future, Pulse.
Yeah, and we just saw Veigar be picked out by DX Alchemist.
Wow.
That means that will probably be in the mid lane. I assumed Riven would be, since we've been seeing so much Riven, which works against so many of those mid laners. But that'll be in the top lane, and that'll be Nitrix picking that one up. Well, presumably, as they swap all of these champions up. I could see Riven working very well against Jax. I mean, she's not auto-attack based compared to a lot of other champions. There's a lot of ways to play around Jax, especially when he leap strikes in, uses that counter-strike and the auto-attack combination. She can just get out of dodge very easily. She can block it with Valor. But Veigar in the mid lane, I'm going to have to take a couple minutes to think about how this matchup's going to work out.
Well, some people in chat saying Veigar support. It's not going to
yeah.
be. It's not going to be, though, because Yarrow has the support of Zyra. So it will be DX Alchemist running Veigar in mid. And as you said, there is plenty of CC. Cataclysm into the Event Horizon and Chain of Corruptions plus the Stranglethorns is amazing amounts of displacement and disengage, or engage if the case so chooses. So I'm looking at this Dignitas lineup, Pulse. It's actually pretty terrifying to me.
It is indeed, but we're going to be jumping to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll be into the first game with Dignitas UK and SK Gaming. We'll see you very shortly. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EUS Challenger Series number 15 with the second best of 3 today with Dignitas UK and SK Gaming. I am Pulse and I'm joined by Metas. How's it going, man?
It is going good. I'm really looking forward to this game, and a lot of people have been calling this one of the best games we've ever had in the EUS Challenger Series. I would definitely be edging towards that being true here, Pulse. I think this is going to be a very close best of 3. Dignitas UK have the momentum after beating Copenhagen Wolves in the previous round. Question is, can SK Gaming take them down? It's going to be close.
Yeah, I can't argue at all. This is going to be a very interesting matchup, not only because of the teams, but also the picks they're bringing into this game. Veigar has come out specifically against Nidalee, and also Candy Panda picking up the Lucian. Last time I saw Candy Panda pick up the oddball AD carry was Draven, and he got completely stomped. So we'll see what he can do with Lucian.
Well, you know, you say oddball, but in a lot of the other regions, Lucian is seeing a lot more playtime now, especially in Korea and NA. So I am curious to see how it works for Candy Panda. He's an exceptionally good mechanical AD, and as you said before, himself and Nif have such good synergy at the bot lane. So if you see those death sentence landing, Lucian is going to be a real threat. That being said, though, aforementioned dual lane is going to be going top here for SK Gaming to face off against Riven.
Yeah, no doubt. And this will help Lucian and Fresh. Well, I was looking at mid lane. I thought it disconnected, but they were both standing still. Lucian and Fresh in the top lane. I was kind of expecting this. I was actually expecting maybe Candy Panda and Nif to actually swap up into the mid lane, because Nidalee doesn't really have a good matchup against Veigar. I'm just taking a look at the top. Jungle Nitrix forced to flash out already. This is not good news.
And he was there to try and take down the wolves so that he wasn't completely behind at top lane. He wanted to get to level 2 before heading to top. In doing so, his flash is down. He's got absolutely 0 XP from this exchange. And the red buff has been stolen. Overall, that's pretty terrible news for Nitrix and Dignitas as a whole.
Yeah, indeed. They've all been pushed back, but they've taken the buff in return. Svenskeren still sticking up in the top lane. Riven has been forced back, and they're going to put down the pressure, but Jax is having an equally hard time. He's forced to go back into his own jungle, and Jarvan is essentially free to just follow him around and try and shut him down, because in the bot lane, he can't get anywhere near, and if he does, then Jarvan would just come down and gank him, but he's looking for the gank in the mid lane.
Oh, Event Horizon comes down, flashing through the flag and drag, so Jezz will be fine, but that flash is on cooldown, and until level 6, where Nidalee gets Cougar form, going to be very susceptible to more ganks. Nitrix is going to fall atop, as Svenskeren is still up there, and is still yet to get any XP on the board. Look at that, Pulse. He's not even got 1 creep, so he's still level 1.
Yeah, but Freddy 122 only has 1 creep himself, so it's not going well for either of the top laners, but now he has the luxury in knowing that his opposing laner is down. Jarvan's already headed into the top lane. He has to. There's nowhere else he can go, meaning that Jax will be ahead of Riven. Top tower will fall very soon, and SK can vamp up the pressure.
They certainly can. But Freddy is starting to absorb some of this XP right now. In turn, Impala's forced to go to top to help out Nitrix. This tower is very low though, just from the creeps batting it down. So thus far, Candy Panda and Nif are having a good time with it. With the first blood as well, as you mentioned, it's just going to be even better. Jax is flashing up red at bot lane, so Freddy needs to be super careful. Samwise just getting some free farm.
This is going to suit in the long run, not only just because of how well they're doing, but also because of the champions. No matter how you look at the matchup, Jax has to essentially just survive the early game against Riven. Riven does a lot worse than Jax in terms of scaling, and Riven has to win early to win the matchup. The fact that they've gone for this lane swap up means that Jax isn't going to be as shut down as Riven, especially after picking up that first blood, and they haven't had the chance to shut him down. Riven's going to be in really bad shape, not just because she's behind, but she might even get taken out again.
Oh my god, so much damage because she's still level 1. They're going to pick up that second consecutive kill onto Nitrix, who is still yet to pick up a CS, yet to pick up any experience, level 1, and his second tier tower is falling atop.
Yeah, they're trying to make something happen in the mid lane.
They are. Veigar's going on hard onto Jez's as Flash was down from the previous engagement. Do they have enough damage? Alchemist is going deep here. Beautiful tanking had to be said from Impaler. Will it be enough to save Alchemist? Yes, as that barrier comes out. So, turns out to be the right pickup after all. And some towers going in amongst the action. The second top tower has fallen.
And they're just continuing the momentum. Jarvan realizes that his team is behind. Okay, we go to the mid lane, we pick up a kill. But Veigar isn't going to snowball as hard as a 3-man push in the top lane. They probably stop for now, because now they can back off, and it's so close to their base. It's 5 minutes into the game, Metas. This is absolutely ridiculous, and they're pushing down the bot lane. So they're probably going to swap up the duo into the bot lane once again, and then have Freddy swap up into the top. It's going to make it difficult, because Riven will be happy to freeze it all day, but it still means that he'll have the pressure somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, and as you were saying though, Jax is going to scale into late game much better. Riven desperately needs some items to get rolling, and Nitrix has just got absolutely nothing. Doran's shield and 4 health potions. Like, before Riven gets even remotely scary, it's going to be another 5, 10, 15 minutes at the very least. So, again, just Riven's not going to be doing a great deal in these team fights.
Yeah, indeed, and Impaler is trying to do as much as he can into the bottom jungle, and Lucian is just left to also freeze the lane, meaning that Fresh can roam the map as he pleases, and now Strong Push comes down into the mid lane. Dignitas recognise that their top lane is behind, and they need to start getting momentum now, because they have a snowball champion in form of Riven who's not doing well at all, and mid lane Veigar, yes, they have a little bit of late game security. SK have also rotated, and they can't push anywhere, so they're in this awkward spot where they have to make something happen, but they don't have the tools to do so.
Exactly the case, and you can see now Dignitas have 4 players in the mid, and 3 are from SK Gaming. So this is allowing Candy Panda at bot lane to get some more farm on Lucian, and Riven pushed the top lane, and now simply has to go back. Cannot go one-on-one against Jax right now. So what's their next passage of play, Pulse? Do you think they're going to go for a desperation dragon? Well, that being said, here comes Alchemist with the Event Horizon alongside Impaler. Beautiful play though from Nif to push back Jarvan away from his mid laner, but they're still going to be chasing this one down. Genesis gets an ultimate to the face. Somehow, someway manages to survive, and now Svenskeren, right place at the right time to look to pull this one back for his team. Safeguarding back on to Nif. Here comes Candy Panda from the side. Is not looking good as the Javelin will pick up the pieces onto DX Alchemist. This could be yet another kill onto Nitrix, who falls for the 3rd time. Samwise is now going to get poked down from Nidalee, and looks like we're going to have the disengage, but still, SK Gaming just coming out ahead time and time again.
SK juggled the damage so perfectly, and the fact that the Veigar ultimate didn't kill Nidalee, that's possibly the worst thing that could have happened, as Nif drops up low and Samwise takes on the dragon by himself.
He does, but for his troubles, he's going to have Candy Panda smashing him away and saying, just get away, you're not strong enough to take Dragon when I'm around. So that's going to mean that Samwise has to go back to spawn, and Candy Panda's going to get a bit more free farm. How's it looking in terms of CS? 56 to 49, so not a gaping difference, but Candy Panda, remember, did get that first blood.
Yeah, so one of the worst things about the last engage was Nidalee survived. Not only that, she's one of the few champions who can still assist in the fight despite being very low from extreme range because of her javelin. And we saw that in the last fight. She still not only landed a spear, but also landed a second spear which picked up the kill. So SK Gaming take another advantage, and now they can just start being more aggressive. They can start taking up more advantages, more buffs. They can go for that blue buff. They can go for the red buff when it starts spawning, and they can probably go after the Drake as well. There's nothing that Dignitas can really do to stop it.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Dignitas, Nitrix has been caught out of position. Dragon's range back from Svenskeren. Here comes another Javelin from Nidalee, forcing the flash away. Will the Sonic Wave Resonating Strike be enough? No, it won't. Svenskeren will back on away. Just going back to that previous fight, though, you're talking about with Jezzy surviving, I think a lot of the praise has to go to Nif. That play was absolutely beautiful on Jarvan.
Yeah, indeed, I agree completely. And now in the top lane, they're still continuing the pressure. And already, well, DX Alchemist, those spears are starting to hurt. And he just takes another one straight to the face and drops.
That was 3 spears landed in a row. So either DX Alchemist needs to go play some dodgeball, or you've got to say Jezis has heat-seeking javelins. Whichever way you look at it, that's a big pickup. And now Jezis just going to keep going in this mid lane, harassing it down and getting some free damage onto Impaler. Top lane, this isn't something we say too often, sub 10 minutes. Their inhib tower is below half hit points.
Yeah, and Riven has to go elsewhere. She can't afford to be by herself when she's so far behind. Level 5 to level 7 against her lane partner, and everyone else on the board is so far ahead that she just has to try and farm the jungle and try and make something else happen. But Nitrix, he's just really not in good shape. Jackson go up there, easily duel out Riven, and Riven, if she's ever going to win that matchup, has to be early. Now she's hit the stage, and she's 2 levels behind. Freddy's just going to completely annihilate Riven in a trade.
Yeah, definitely. That sentence narrowly missing there at bot lane from Nif. They will be picking up this tower, the 3rd tower now for Dignitas has been taken against them. They picked up one in retaliation though, but again, it's that situation that we've mentioned a couple times. If you have a look at the item build from Nitrix, it's really bad. It's not looking too good for him. Probably the understatement of the year, actually.
Yeah, indeed. And now, probably the next call from SK is just like, well, Dragon's up. There's very little that Dignitas can do about it. We can go for this, or we go for a fight. We win both of these scenarios, unless they can catch someone off guard. That's their best hope at the moment for Dignitas to try and get themselves a pick.
Oh, Event Horizon Cleanse instantly comes from Jez's Flag and Drag as well, but the Javelins and the Cavalry coming in here from SK Gaming. In fact, they're going to turn it back round onto Zyra, so Yero goes down after the result of a death sentence and the combo Qs from Svenskeren. Now going to be looking for that free dragon, and honestly, there is nothing Dignitas UK can do to stop this.
Oh man, that death sentence from Nif was unbelievable. It was Svenskeren landing the Q, then he hesitated, and Nif still read it and led the target and still landed it onto Yero, resulting in a kill and also the dragon. Another advantage picked up by SK. Now Canipan's just pushing by himself, and he has nothing to fear. He knows that Jarvan is forced to go into the mid lane, the support already dead, and he can easily duel Samwise.
Yep, he definitely can. It's going to be recalling. In fact, no, it's a bit too dangerous to recall there, especially as the support was coming back down. So he's going to run away and then probably get a couple creeps and maybe go back. Regardless though, Impala is lurking around the sides. Nitrix is getting a bit of a chance to bring that CS back up again, get some more XP, just things up to level 7, but still well and truly behind Freddy, who's already level 8 and very close to level 9.
Yeah, SK's lineup is looking really strong, even though they have only formed a couple days ago, Metas. And remember, this is Dignitas. This is the same Dignitas who recently, in fact yesterday, took down Copenhagen Wolves. Yes, they've had their own lineup changes, but we've mentioned so many times that their new lineup is very similar to the last one, and it's almost like seeing the same Copenhagen Wolves just under different names. And this in the bot lane, Samwise, I don't rate his chances of getting out of this one very highly.
Well, Svenskeren, Dragon rages and back. He does have the red buff, doing quite a bit of damage. Barrier comes out from Samwise. Is it going to be enough damage? Yes, it is!
Oh.
The barrier paying off. And he gets the red buff on top of it. That is a pretty big pickup for Samwise.
That was incredible. I didn't think he was going to get out of that one. And the minions must have done so much damage. It's a pity that as a spectator you can't see how much damage the minions did. I would probably say about a third of his HP as the flash comes down into the mid lane and he lands the hook in return.
Death Sentence comes in. There's the Event Horizon. However, can they get the right amount of burst damage? Strangle Thorns as well. Impala has to back away with Ignite ticking down. So the players fall lots of abilities used in the process though.
That's actually really, really good. At least they have some sort of security when we head into late game, and Varus isn't completely out of the game just yet. 1-0-0, it's not amazing, and especially his farm as well does not reflect an amazing game, but at least they have something in their back pocket as Canipan comes in from the side, and the damage is absolutely insane.
Yeah, Triforce on Lucian is bad news for opposition, and he's starting to see his ultimate doing a lot more damage now that he has the AP with the AD as well. Now this could very well just be a free mid tower, be the secondary tower to go down alongside top. So again, that global presence, especially around the red buff, especially around Baron, is so in SK's favour. Look at the global presence now. For Dignitas UK to get to Baron or their own red buff, they're walking through a lot of unmarked territory. That's where the picks could come in from SK.
Yeah, and Dignitas are being completely choked right now in terms of vision, in terms of objectives. And because SK are being so aggressive, and they know the limits of how aggressive they can be, they're taking every advantage they can. This is the second inner turret to go down this game, and it's only 14 minutes into it. It's absolutely insane to watch, and Dignitas are usually the type of team who are so dynamic, they're the ones who take that small advantage, and then they make it into a bigger advantage. And they've just not been able to take anything back, and it all really just scaled from that original lane swap up from SK, which worked out so well for them, having essentially a 4 versus 5 for the entire game. Riven's not been able to contribute anything at all to any fight. She's essentially had to stay in the top lane, and even then has still been denied farm.
Exactly, I couldn't have said it better myself. She's just been completely denied. Scumbag Svenskeren not allowing Nitrix to recall that. Just pops down with the Sonic Wave. Didn't want to use a Resonating Strike, was just harassing more than anything else. But just going back into what you're saying, I mean, Dignitas UK, they are relentless, they're ruthless, and they go for the jugular. But when they're behind, you notice that they're not quite as comfortable. They're not one of those teams that is going to bounce back off a team fight. I always feel that if Dignitas UK get behind, it's a massive mountain for them to climb. They're very momentum based.
Yeah, indeed, and they're momentum-based from the start of the game. They're not a team who waits it out, picks up an advantage mid-game, and then wins it late-game. They're a team who likes to get ahead early, and that's not happened at all this game, as once again, SK looking for another objective in the form of bottom turret. Those spears really are starting to hurt.
Yeah, it is just brutal right now. That's all outer towers down and out for the count. So much map dominance right now for SK Gaming. Jax is going to push top while the rest of the team go bottom. That chain of corruption will be landing on Candy Panda, however, but that's a beautiful top passage. Gets him away to safety. They could turn this one back around as the Javelin lands on Impaler. So one of the tankiest members is no longer on the battlefield and in use. Nitrix takes a ton of damage as well and has to back away. So the early engage from Dignitas UK not paying out, and now that's going to allow Jax to pick up not just the inhib tower, but potentially the inhibitor as well.
And you could see how desperate Dignitas are getting. They had to bring 5 people bot lane and make an engage happen, even if it wasn't favourable for them, because that's their last remaining decision that is available to them. Now the top tower falls and the bottom tower falls, and it looks like an inhib will be falling under 20 minutes. Dignitas still looking to push forwards. They still had some damage from that last team fight, meaning they could do it again, but they burnt so many of these ultimates, and Soundwise taking a lot of damage from these spears.
Oh my god, the longest Sonic Wave resonating strike I've seen as Svenskeren jumps on top of Soundwise. Nitrix is going to be falling to Thresh as the box comes down. Candy Panda and the rest of his team going to be taking down bottom inhibitor while Jax finishes off the top one. This is 16, nearly 17 minutes through. One of the most one-sided games I've seen in a pretty long time, Pulse.
Yeah, and Dignitas really haven't done anything wrong. They've reacted well to every play that SK's made, but the fact that Riven was so behind early meant that no matter what they did, they were still going to fall behind. SK making the wise decision just to back on off. They've done enough damage. They've taken 2 inhibs and have started actually to do some damage to the Nexus turret. Now they should probably back off. They must have a crazy amount of money in their back pockets.
Well, I wouldn't even like to calculate it because I think it would be quite painful. It would hit me right in the feels, Pulse. Because as if it wasn't bad enough, the fact that Dignitas UK are 11,000 gold behind at 17.5 minutes, 8-1 towers behind. Just the one inhib tower and inhib standing. And on top of that, the amount of items and damage spikes that's going to be coming back for SK Gaming is going to be brutal. That's the last Whisper Trinity Force finished off on Lucian compared to a BF sword on Varus. Absolutely brutal. Triforce Giant Spell compared to a Brutalizer on Riven. All across the board, this is one-way traffic.
Yeah, no one on Dignitas has finished a big item yet, whereas if you compare that to SK, some of those players are starting to finish their second big item, looking at Lucian, and now they siege down the middle lane. Jarvan looking to take down the Drake. I'm not even sure if he's going to win this fight, Metas.
I'm not sure either, but in the meantime, SK are like, okay, you take that Drake, we'll just take your third inhib. Because why not? Also, I would like to bring your attention, Pulse, to an interesting build. Tear of the Goddess on Lee Sin. Please explain.
I mean, why not, honestly, at this stage, Metas? Seraph's Embrace, best item on Lee Sin.
Yeah, you want that extra shield. He's going to be jumping in, using the mechanics to knock Samwise back into the fray. Will be falling courtesy of Jax. Svenskeren does go down, living up to his name of RIP, but he has done the damage. First Nexus Tower falls. They can actually engage on his Alchemist. Is getting brutalized behind his fountain. Will be able to just about survive with Ignite ticking down. Stranglethorns from Zyra, but it's just delaying the inevitable. This game is completely over. All lanes are pushing through super minions. Second Nexus Tower will be falling, and the Nexus will follow.
And that was not an outcome I expected at all, Metas. Remember me saying at the start, in fact, Freddy gets picked up, but I don't think that should matter as we see the Nexus falling any second now. And I actually predicted that Dignitas would be winning his series, but it's going to be a massive uphill struggle as they lose the first game of this best of 3.
It is going to be a mountain to climb here, especially after such a one-way game number 1. So plenty of action to come here, Pulse. I have an inclination, though, that Dignitas are up to the task. They are a team that will not go down without a fight.
Yes, indeed. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll be in the second game of this best of 3 series between SK Gaming and Dignitas UK. Don't go anywhere.